Spurious is a game of counterfeiting and hornswoggling. It's a medium-weight bluffing, pushing your luck, worker placement game of playing the odds and telling a tall tale of the Wild West. Games take between 45 minutes and an hour and are played by 3 to 5 players. It's designed by Micah Sturr and is a good time for honest folks, rowdy cusses, and no good charlatans alike. Here's a 3-player game of Spurious set up on the table. You can see our frontier town starting to take shape, and the opportunities for our townsfolk to strike it rich with some luck and some audacity. You win Spurious if, after 4 rounds, you have the most legitimate money. At its heart, Spurious is a game about counterfeit money. Poker cards in the game represent $1 each and are either black ace of spades, which is legit, or the red ace of hearts, which is counterfeit. Systems in Spurious run on the balance of legitimate and counterfeit money a player has in their 7-card hand. Players have a deck of the two types of cards and will build and manage the ratio in what can be thought of as a binary deck builder. This allows for bluffing when making an offer to another player, pushing your luck when attempting to buy establishments, and taking calculated risks when you get into a high noon showdown or attempt to rob the bank. During play, both types of money spend equally, unless you get caught trying to pass those counterfeits, but counterfeits don't score at the end of the game. So every time you pass a counterfeit as a legitimate buck, it's a win. Evaluate your risks and build your deck accordingly. Spurious is also a worker placement game. Each turn, you'll send one of your townfolk meeples to visit a location in town. It can visit your establishment, your opponent's establishment, or a public location like the bank. These visits will trigger a series of actions like starting fights, making money, and moving to other spaces. In addition to creating strategic and tactical depth and escalating tension in the bluffing and confrontations, a unique Wild West narrative unfolds every game. So what can you do with a hand of 7 cards and a single worker placement action? Let's look at our example. If we move our red townsfolk meeple into the open slot of the mine, we'll have to offer the proprietor $4 for each of the 2 available actions. The establishment has been upgraded with an action chip by its owner. We're going to have to offer a mixture of legit and counterfeit, or all 4 counterfeit. Let's give ourselves a chance with a single legit and bluff the rest with 3 counterfeits. Now, the proprietor has the option of checking a single random card for counterfeit, or accepting the offer without a check. If they don't check, they take the money and we get all the actions. Neat. If they check and find the legit, they still get the full offer and we get the actions, but we also get a white hat that we can put on a townsfolk meeple to double their ability. If they check and find a counterfeit, they reveal the full offer, confiscate the counterfeit, and get a white hat for such honest work in the town themselves, and we get sent back to one of our establishments, where we'll take the above board action. Speaking of hats, if our townsfolk people had a hat when we got caught passing a counterfeit, we could up the ante by taking the offer back, adding a card to it, and reoffering. You can see that in Spurious, the worker placement isn't a dry system of moving a disc and collecting red cubes to convert to blue cubes. Your turn is everyone's turn, and every interaction is a dynamic interaction. Actions in establishments create incentives for opponents to spend money in your establishment and also allow players to make fun, interactive combo turns. Some allow another move. For example, we could end our turn in the outlaw den here and take that action on top of the rest. Fights and showdowns also happen in the Wild West. To incite a high noon showdown, you choose one of your townfolk's meeples in the street and call out one of your opponents. Then shuffle your hands, call legit or counterfeit, say draw, and flip the top card. If you called it right, you shoot the desperado or the marshal. Like with visiting establishments, the narrative may be confrontational, but the player interaction is positive. Much of the emergent gameplay hinges on this positive interaction. The first time someone intentionally loses a fight is eye-opening for most players. You can win Spurious as a scrupulous business person, working to build a thriving town. And you can win as an ornery cuss, robbing banks and shooting lawmen. Public locations are fun too. You always get the action at a public spot, and can buy counterfeits at the outlaw den or legit at the bank, as well as establishments and upgrade chips at the street. The public locations are also area control places. If you control them at the end of the turn, you'll try to rob the bank or the outlaw den, again using your hand of 7 cards against the game's hand. Succeed and you're rich. Fail and the pot rolls over and to the next round. Spurious escalates. The action at the street is buying establishment and upgrade chips. Depending upon its slot, an establishment or a chip can cost $2 with the offer being checked twice, $3 with a single check, or $4 with no checks at all. Get caught passing a counterfeit here, and it will be confiscated, and you'll get a black hat for the public dishonesty. Control of the street means that you draft the turn order markers first for the next turn. In ascending order, turn order markers determine turn order, but in descending order, they determine tiebreakers. They also feed the tension of worker placement versus area control, with the former privileging going first, and the latter privileging going last. In short, Spurious is fun. It's legit.